Have you ever wondered what happens when individuals who might otherwise be thoughtful and law-abiding find themselves swept up in the currents of a group, leading to actions they might never consider alone? It's a profound and sometimes unsettling question, one that delves deep into the human psyche. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating, yet often disturbing, psychology behind group crime. This isn't about pointing fingers or passing judgment, but rather about understanding the powerful dynamics at play when individuals engage in collective criminal behavior. We'll break down how individual predispositions intersect with these compelling group forces, leading to outcomes that can surprise and even shock us. Our goal is to demystify some of these complex ideas, making them relatable and understandable so we can better comprehend the human experience in its entirety. The study of group crime psychology is a truly interdisciplinary field, drawing insights from various psychological and sociological theories. It seeks to explain not just what happened, but why it happened and how we might prevent it in the future. Act 1. The Power of the Collective. Let's start with a foundational concept that many of us intuitively grasp: mob mentality or crowd behavior. Think about a large sporting event, a protest, or even a festival. People in these settings often adopt behaviors and attitudes that might differ significantly from their usual selves. This isn't just about excitement, it's about a fascinating psychological shift. One key factor here is deindividuation. Imagine being in a vast crowd. There's a sense of anonymity, a feeling that you're just one face among many. This anonymity can lead to a loss of self-awareness and personal responsibility. When we feel unseen, our usual inhibitions can loosen, leading to more impulsive or uncharacteristic behavior. It's as if the individual identity temporarily recedes, replaced by a collective identity. Closely linked is the concept of diffusion of responsibility. When a group acts, the perception of individual liability can diminish. If everyone is doing it, who is really responsible? This perception can reduce the personal burden of guilt, making violent or unacceptable behaviors seem less egregious because the blame feels shared rather than personal. It's like everyone assumes someone else will step up, or no one feels solely accountable. Then there's emotional contagion. This is the rapid spread of emotions and behaviors through a group. Picture a ripple effect. One person's anger or excitement can quickly be picked up by others, escalating into a collective emotional state. This shared emotion can create an environment where typically unacceptable behaviors suddenly seem permissible, even necessary, within the heightened context of the group. So, in essence, Act 1 shows us how the very structure and atmosphere of a group can profoundly alter individual behavior, sometimes making actions possible that an individual would never contemplate alone. These are the powerful currents that begin to pull us in. Act 2. Learning, Thinking, and Personality. Now let's move beyond the immediate crowd dynamic and consider how we learn behavior, especially criminal behavior, within social contexts. This brings us to social learning theory, pioneered by Bandura. Bandura's work suggests that we learn by observing others. We see behaviors, we see the consequences of those behaviors, and then we might imitate them. If certain behaviors are reinforced or seen as beneficial within a group, perhaps leading to status or acceptance, they are more likely to adopt them. Edwin H. Sutherland expanded on this with his differential association theory, which explains that criminal behavior isn't innate, it's learned through communication and interaction within our closest personal groups. It's like learning a language or a skill. If your social circle values or practices certain criminal acts, you're more likely to learn and adopt them.
Another crucial concept, especially when we consider more organized group crime, is groupthink. Identified by Janis, this is a fascinating psychological phenomenon where the desire for harmony or conformity within a group overrides critical thinking. Members suppress dissenting opinions to maintain group cohesion, leading to irrational decision-making, often with disastrous consequences. The focus shifts from making the best decision to simply agreeing with the group. Beyond these group-level dynamics, individual psychology also plays a significant role. While we are part of a group, we still bring our own internal worlds. Psychodynamic theory from Sigmund Freud suggests that unconscious forces, perhaps even unresolved childhood conflicts, can influence our actions, including criminal ones, though it's less about the group and more about the individual's internal landscape. Then there's behavioral theory, from thinkers like John B. Watson and B.F. Skinner, which focuses on how our environment and learned experiences shape our behavior. It's less about internal thoughts and more about external influences and reinforcements. Cognitive theory, on the other hand, zeroes in on our thinking patterns. It suggests that faulty thinking, like justifying our actions, minimizing harm, or blaming others, can contribute to criminal behavior, particularly when these patterns are reinforced by a group. And finally, personality and trait theories identify specific characteristics that might make individuals more susceptible to criminal behavior, such as impulsivity, sensation-seeking, low empathy, aggressiveness, or even psychopathic traits. When these individuals find themselves in a group dynamic that encourages such traits, the outcome can be amplified. Many brilliant minds have contributed to this understanding. We've mentioned Sutherland, Bandura, and Janis. Others include Gustave Le Bon, who wrote The Psychology of Crowds back in 1895, and more contemporary researchers like Professor Gwen Adshead, who explores violence and criminal personalities. Institutions like John Jay College of Criminal Justice and government bodies like the FBI actively engage in this research, demonstrating its real-world importance. Act 3. Navigating the debates and looking ahead. Understanding the psychology behind group crime isn't straightforward, and the field itself is rich with ongoing debates and controversies. These aren't weaknesses, but rather signs of a vibrant, evolving area of study. One fundamental debate is the classic nature versus nurture question. To what extent is criminal behavior influenced by our biology and genetics versus our social and environmental factors? Most modern understanding leans towards a biosocial interplay, acknowledging that both play intricate roles, constantly interacting with each other. It's rarely one or the other, but a complex dance between our innate predispositions and our life experiences. Another significant discussion revolves around individual versus systemic causation. While psychological theories often focus on individual deficits or decision-making, like the risk-need responsivity model for offenders, critics rightly ask if these theories adequately address broader systemic factors, such as poverty, social exclusion, and inequality. Do we risk overemphasizing individual choices while overlooking the societal pressures that can push individuals towards crime, particularly within groups? This highlights the need for a holistic view. There's also debate about the structure and rationality of criminal groups. Are these organizations always formal and rational with clear goals, or can they be more loose, chaotic, and driven by immediate impulsive urges, especially in the context of mob behavior? The answer, of course, is likely both, depending on the specific group and situation. There's also debate about the structure and rationality of criminal groups. Are these organizations always formal and rational with clear goals, or can they be more loose, chaotic, and driven by immediate impulsive urges, especially in the context of mob behavior? The answer, of course, is likely both, depending on the specific group and situation.
For professionals working in this field, ethical considerations are constant. Issues like client confidentiality versus investigative relevance, or concerns about malingering, where individuals might fabricate disorders, present genuine challenges. Perhaps one of the most important modern debates is about defining and othering criminals. Historically, there was a tendency to label criminals as inherently other or fundamentally different. Modern approaches aim to move beyond this, seeking to understand how psychology and social contexts contribute to rule-breaking. The goal is not to excuse behavior, but to understand its roots, which is crucial for effective prevention and rehabilitation. It's about recognizing shared humanity, even in difficult circumstances. Measuring individual culpability in collective crime is incredibly difficult. When traditional moral values are suspended and dynamic group pressures are at play, how do we fairly assess an individual's responsibility within a collective act? This is a question with profound implications for our justice systems. And, of course, there are ongoing questions about the effectiveness of interventions. What strategies truly prevent recidivism and rehabilitate offenders? Is it more effective to focus on managing risk, as in the risk-need-responsibility model, or to build on an individual's strengths and aspirations, as championed by the Good Lives model? The conversation continues to evolve, seeking the most humane and effective paths forward. The psychology behind group crime is a dynamic and constantly evolving area of study. Researchers are continually refining our understanding of how collective forces transform individual behavior. The implications are enormous, not just for criminal justice, but for prevention and rehabilitation strategies around the world. By deepening our understanding of both individual psychological factors and complex group dynamics, we can develop more effective interventions and policies that address the root causes of collective criminal behavior. Ultimately, what this field teaches us is that human behavior, especially in groups, is incredibly complex. There are no simple answers, but by patiently and empathetically exploring these psychological currents, we gain vital insights into ourselves, our societies, and how we can foster environments where individuals are less likely to be swept into destructive group actions. It's about understanding, not just punishing, and in that understanding lies the potential for real progress and a more just society for everyone.